Good morning, and welcome to New Hanover County Schools The Morning Show. I'm Bradley Meadows.
And I'm Thomas Jones. This is the week of March 16th through March 22nd. Thank you for joining us today and starting your day off with our sensational and educational morning show.
Even though we are more than halfway through the school year, it is not too late to start your television career. New Hanover County Schools Television is still recruiting high school students to participate in their after-school programs.
Any high school student can volunteer to sit here where we are and be on air, or if they prefer, work behind the scenes.
Television positions such as news anchor, show host, interviewer, sports announcer, and segment hosts are all available for those interested in being in the spotlight in front of the camera.
There are also many behind-the-scenes positions. Right now, students are directing, running audio and graphics, as well as teleprompter and operating the camera.
In addition to working in the studio, students can join in field shoots covering art events and sports.
It's a great place to do volunteer hours, meet new people, and have fun, all while working in a real TV studio environment.
And it looks great on college applications.
To find out more or to get involved, all you need to do is call 254-4180. NHCS TV staff will give you more details and talk about all the wonderful volunteer opportunities.
It's time now to check in with the third member of our team, Shania McDuffie. She is standing by right now with our first look at the morning news headlines. Good morning, Shania.
Good morning, Bradley and Thomas, and welcome everyone to your school news here on the morning show. Topping the headlines this week, the school district responds to first confirmed corona case in North Carolina. NHCS hires new chief communications officer, and National School Breakfast Weeks get students eating healthy early. I will have all these stories and more coming up later in the show.
Thanks, Shania.
It's time for a stable here on the morning show, This Week in History. Our Grand Master of Historical Knowledge has all the headlines from the past times in This Week in History.
Welcome to This Week in History. I am your historical host, Bryce Barker, covering all the colorful and amazing events that have left their mark on history's timeline. This is the week of March 16th through March 22nd. March 16th, 1802, the United States Military Academy, the first military school in the United States, is founded by Congress for the purpose of educating and training young men in the theory of practice of military science. March 17th, 1901, paintings by the late Dutch painter Vincent van Gogh are shown at a gallery in Paris. The 71 paintings, which capture their bold subjects in bold brushstrokes and expressive colors, caused a sensation across the art world. March 18th, 1925, the worst tornado in U.S. history passes through eastern Missouri, southern Illinois, and southern Indiana. It killed 695 people, injured over 13,000, and caused $17 million in property damage. March 19, 1931, in an attempt to lift the state out of the hard times of the Great Depression, the Nevada state legislature votes to legalize gambling. Today, state gambling taxes account for the lion's share of Nevada's overall tax revenues. March 20th, 1854, in Wisconsin, former members of the Whig Party meet to establish a new party to oppose the spread of slavery into the Western territories, and the Republican Party was formed. Finally, your weekend history tidbits. March 21st, 1965. In the name of African American voting rights, 3,200 civil rights demonstrators led by Martin Luther King Jr. began a historic march from Selma, Alabama to the state capital of Montgomery. March 22nd, 1765, an effort to raise funds to pay off debt and defend the vast new American territories won from the French, the British government passes the Stamp Act. It levied a direct tax on all materials printed for commercial and legal use in the colonies. That's This Week in History, your ultimate source from key moments in time. I'm Bryce Barker. Thanks for stopping by.
And join us again next time for another journey through time as we explore the fun, fascinating, entertaining, and educational facts that make up This Week in History.
We have plenty more on the morning show ahead, including a look at the history of March Madness.
But first, as we hit a break, we have the word of the week. Each week we highlight an advanced English word, so when you use them in a sentence, you can impress even educated speakers. Here's our word of the week.
Oh no, what happened?
Dave.
Oh, I got this. Hey, kiddo.
Dad.
It's good though. Good. Try.
I'm sorry. Okay, you know what? Let's take off his sweatshirt. Get rid of pictures of him. We don't have to look at him. Goodbye, Dave.
Mom, you don't understand. He's tagged in like 400 of my posts.
Well, I can cut out tags.
No, that's not how it works.
What is a tag?
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care would love to share their first with you.
Welcome back to the morning show. I'm Bradley Meadows.
And I'm Thomas Jones.
This Saturday, March 21st, is Poetry Day.
In honor of this day, we have a special segment for those of you who may want to try your hand at writing your own poetry.
There is no time like the present to let your inner poet loose. For some, it may come easy, while others think they could never do it well. However, everyone should try it.
To help you begin your journey, we share a few tips for writing poetry.
Take notes, because here's our tips on how to write poetry.
Writing poetry is not often something people think about doing, especially in this age where movies are such a popular method of storytelling. However, taking time to try your hand at writing a poem can be very rewarding and satisfying. The great thing about poetry is it reflects the uniqueness of the author. Simply put, no one is like you. Expressing yourself through poetry is a great way to share who you are and how you feel. You may ask yourself, how do I start? Here are a few tips to get you going. Begin by giving your poem a theme. Think about the message you want to share with your audience and create your theme from that. Themes give something that people can take away from reading your poem. It also gives them a good, easy impression on what a poem is about. Try to keep your theme a clear and understandable idea. Our next tip, paint a picture with words. Instead of a boring description of someone or something, use intense adjectives of colors and shapes. And don't be minimal. Be very detailed in descriptions, metaphors, and personifications, if possible. Here's an example. Instead of, the big man jumped, try, the man, as large as a house, bent his knees and flew from the ground like a rocket. Have fun with the words as you paint your picture. Here's a quick tip. Don't use cliches. Overusing phrases that we've all heard over and over and over again can be pretty boring. Instead, think of new and interesting ways to tell a story or describe something you are feeling. How can you come up with those new words and avoid those cliches? Simple. Our next tip has the answer. Use a dictionary. It's a great place to find cool and exciting words to include in your poem and impress your readers. Dictionaries also include pronunciation, so you can be sure your poem flows as well as you'd like it to. Another great tip is to read some poetry. Spend time reading the classics and new poetry to get inspiration and pick up tips. This can also motivate you to write and give you a feel for what makes a poem great. Our next tip, know your goal. What do you want your poem to do? To express? Are there emotions you need to vent? Do you want to turn one of your fun life stories into a unique reading for others? Do you want to write a poem just to give it a try? Knowing what your goal is can help prevent frustration while writing. And our final tip is the most important. Just write. In today's busy world, take time for yourself and give writing a try. Thinking is an excellent exercise. Delve into your inner thoughts and feelings and express them with your pen. You may be surprised what you find out about yourself. We hope these tips will help you get on your way to writing that first poem, or perhaps give you new motivation to continue on with others.
If you decide to try to write poetry, and you should, be sure to enjoy it and have fun. The great thing is, there is no wrong way to do it.
We hope you are inspired and excited. Feel free to share your newly created poems with us through Twitter by tweeting at NHCS TV.
It's time now for our morning news. Let's send it over to Shania McDuffie, who has several great stories to report. Good morning, Shania.
Thank you and welcome to your school news in the morning show. I'm Shania McDuffie. New Hanover County Schools and all North Carolinians were recently informed of the first confirmed case of the coronavirus in the state. In a press conference issued by the Office of Governor Roy Cooper, we have learned that the patient is in Wake County. It is important to remember that this is an isolated case, and COVID-19 is currently not widespread in North Carolina. New Hanover County Schools is taking all precautionary and safety measures to keep our students and staff healthy. The district is coordinating with the New Hanover County Public Health Department and will be following the directions and precautions laid out by them. We encourage and recommend all families to take the same precautions. These include wash hands frequently with soap and water and for at least 20 seconds each time. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth with unwashed hands. Avoid close contact with people who are ill. Cover your mouth and nose with a tissue when you cough or sneeze. Do not use tissues after sneezing, coughing, or blowing your nose. Clean and disinfect surfaces that are frequently touched. In addition, the district will be reviewing absenteeism policies and procedures for students and faculty with all employees. NHCS encourages staff and students who are sick to avoid attending school and work. One must be fever-free for 24 hours prior to returning back to school. NHCS will continue to thoroughly sanitize classrooms and common areas. In other news, New Hanover County Schools has selected its next Chief Communications Officer, Ann Gibson. Gibson has been a resident of the Cape Fear region since 2016 and has worked as a freelance writer in Wilmington, North Carolina, since relocating from Harrisburg, North Carolina. Ms. Gibson is a graduate of the University of Maryland, where she received a Bachelor of Arts in Individual Studies, Print Media Production. After earning her degree, Gibson remained in the District of Columbia in Maryland area, working for Warren Publishing, Johns Hopkins University, and Discovery Communications. In 2006, she relocated to Charlotte, North Carolina, where she worked in a range of public relations and marketing positions. Gibson served as the Director of Communications and Marketing for the City of Kannapolis and the Director of Communications for the Town of Harrisburg, North Carolina. Interim Superintendent Dr. Dale Burns says, quote, Ms. Gibson brings innovative expertise in marketing and communications to New Hanover County Schools. She has spent years establishing effective communication strategies, optimizing content across marketing platforms, and directing successful social media campaigns. We look forward to her knowledge and proficiency as the district looks to improve its communication and transparency within and among the Wilmington community, end quote. Ann Gibson's first day with New Hanover County Schools was Monday, March 9th. Last week was National School Breakfast Week. Here are some photos from the week. It's a special time of celebration designed to bring positive attention to the school breakfast program and the impact it has on our school community. Research demonstrates that school breakfast consumption boosts students' academic performances, grades, and test scores, increases concentration, alertness, comprehension, and memory, improves classroom behavior, reduces absenteeism, and tardiness. School breakfast participation is also linked to a lower body mass index, lower probability of being overweight or obese, and improved diet quality. Remember, a low-cost, healthy breakfast is available every school day in your school's cafeteria. For all of your latest on New Hanover County Schools, join us weekdays at 5 o'clock p.m. here on Spectrum Cable Channel News 5 and Channel 191 in Carolina Beach for your school news. A complete half hour of all the latest news and information from New Hanover County Schools. Now back to our guests.
Thanks, Shania.
All right, it's time now for this week's lunch menu. This is the menu for Monday, March 16th through Monday, March 23rd.
On Monday, March 16th, shake off those Monday morning blues at lunch with creamy chicken Alfredo with a dinner roll, an enticing Italian hoagie, or barbecue pork served with hush puppies. Keep your belly cheering with joy with coleslaw, garden peas, tomato, and cucumber salad, as well as diced peaches.
Then, on Tuesday, March 17th, turn your day upside down and have breakfast for lunch with splendid chicken and waffles, or stick to the norm with Salisbury steak served with a biscuit or buffalo chicken pizza. On the side, enjoy mashed potatoes, carrots, and diced pears.
On Wednesday, March 18th, feast like royalty with chicken teriyaki with brown rice, a tasty cheeseburger, or a happening hot dog. Complement your entree with spectacular tater tots, golden corn, and a frozen fruit cup.
On Thursday, March 19th, have a fiesta and enjoy a steak fajita with Spanish rice, macaroni and cheese with a dinner roll, or a delicious deluxe chicken sandwich. Also, enjoy a crunchy sweet potato, lima beans, and magnificent mandarin oranges.
Then, on Friday, March 20th, race to the lunch line and enjoy nacho grande with cheese sauce with a corn muffin, roasted chicken served with brown rice, or a fresh filet sandwich. No matter what you choose, be sure to add black beans, broccoli, and flavorful mixed fruit to your plate.
Finally, on Monday, March 23rd, how will you ever decide between enticing pasta with meat sauce and a garlic knot, scrumptious chicken tenders with a dinner roll, or a grilled cheese sandwich? Round the meal out with healthy vegetable soup, green beans, tomato and cucumber salad, and diced peaches.
And there you have the lunch menu for this week. In addition to those items, milk, a garden salad, fresh fruit, French bread pizza, and a peanut butter and jelly combo will be available daily.
So many delicious choices. Don't forget you can also start your day off with a healthy and hearty breakfast at school.
Now, when we come back, we take a look at the history of March Madness.
It's all happening right after this short break.
It takes less than 1 minute to find out if you may have prediabetes. You can do it here. But you probably won't. You're busy. Kids, work, show coming back in 48 seconds. So let's do this now. Hold up one finger if you're a man, women, 0. 3 more fingers if you're over 60, 2 over 50, 1 over 40. If you're not sure, keep in mind you're sitting on a couch right now, so 1 more finger if you're not very active. 1 finger if yes, 0 if no. 1 yes, 0 no. Next, find the body type that looks most like you and hold up that many fingers while I look around awkwardly. And that's it. If you're holding up 5 fingers or more, you probably have prediabetes. Sorry to be so blunt, but hey, you're busy. Just go to the site.
Welcome back to the morning show. I'm Bradley Meadows.
And I'm Thomas Jones.
Tuesday, March 17th is an exciting day for many, many Americans, and even people around the world.
It's the beginning of the NCAA Division I Men's College Basketball Tournament, also known as March Madness.
To celebrate this year's March Madness, we have a special segment which takes a brief look at the history of the tournament.
Each year as the cold disperses and the flowers start to sprout, certain sounds start to follow them. The bouncing of basketballs, screeching of sneakers on the battleground players call a court, and with hundreds of devoted fans screaming uncontrollably. This can only mean one thing, that an ancient tradition known as March Madness is back, and it's turning the humble and the animated fanatics. So where did this basketball madness originate from, and why does it have such a hold on millions every year? In a faraway land known as Illinois, it is believed that the Illinois High School Association is the founder of the first March Madness tournaments, starting on March 17, 1939. a small invitational tournament between surrounding colleges that would sell out crowds at the University of Illinois long before it was dubbed March Madness. March Madness would not get its name until Henry Porter, assistant executive of the Illinois High School Association, wrote an essay dedicated to honor it. It appeared in the Illinois Interscholastic in 1939. The name stuck with newspapermen and readers, and during the 1940s and the 1950s, the name grew in popularity along with the tournament. Over the years, more than 900 schools have been competing to join the Sweet 16, a coalition of the last 16 teams to play for the title, and the winner of the tournament was crowned NCAA champion. Since its debut in 1939, March Madness has gotten much bigger than just Illinois, with the entire United States going crazy with basketball fever. The games start on March 14th every year and end on April 3rd, with more than 29 million people watching every year and drawing in $900 million in revenue, most of which comes from broadcasting rights. The NCAA signed a 14-year contract in 2006 with Turner Broadcasting and CBS Sports for $10.8 billion, giving the broadcasting rights to the games. 68 teams now participate in the tournament, which, with their own divisions and rivalries. In 2013, over 75% of the country said they have heard of the tournament, and 60% said they have watched a game at some point. This madness has become an American pastime. Over the years and decades, many teams have made their mark during the tournament. There have been undefeated runs, spectacular finales, and heartbreaking losses. Each generation of Americans have their own classic March Madness memories. So this March, why not see what all the madness is about and watch new stories being born as teams from across the country compete for the all-elusive title of NCAA champion.
That was great March Madness information. I'm excited about the tournament. Thomas, are there any teams you're pulling for?
I'm really pulling for Notre Dame. What about you?
I'm pulling for UNC.
Well, with March Madness, you never know what will happen.
No, you don't. That's part of why it's so exciting. Now we shift gears and bring you our enjoyable segment, America's Wildest Places. In it, we take a visual and audio tour of one of America's national wildlife refuges, brought to you by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. You'll learn about the plants and animals at each one, as well as what the different seasons of the year brings. Enjoy the sights and sounds of America's wildest places.
The landscape has always occupied a special place in the Southern heart. Broad, winding rivers, majestic forests, and fertile marshes provide us with food and shelter, employment and recreation, and satisfy a deeper need for natural beauty and a sense of place. Here at Eufaula National Wildlife Refuge, the chapters in our long relationship with this land can be read in our varied habitats and in the wealth of plants and wildlife. Eufaula National Wildlife Refuge was created with the assistance of local people who wanted a refuge for waterfowl that offered abundant wildlife and lush scenery. That bond remains strong today. The refuge offers local citizens and other visitors opportunities to come face to face with our natural world and to be part of the continuing story of this southern landscape. Throughout the year, an amazing variety of animals and birds use the refuge as either a temporary or permanent home. Nearly 300 species of birds can be seen here, making it a paradise for bird watchers and nature photographers. 2 observation decks are located along the 7-mile Wildlife Drive, providing views over fields and wetlands. In late fall and winter, the refuge is crowded with many species of waterfowl and wading birds, which have flown south for the winter. As many as 15,000 waterfowl may join the herons and geese feeding in the impoundments, making for lively birdwatching. Many varieties of ducks can be seen diving and dipping for plants and small aquatic creatures. If you're lucky, you might also see some stately sandhill cranes, or hawks, osprey, and eagles on the refuge. By late winter, most of our bird visitors are leaving for their summer habitats in the north. But the coming of spring starts a frenzy of nest building among our resident birds. Great blue herons, great egrets, and other water birds begin to work in their communal rookeries in the refuge's wetlands. By mid-spring, the refuge is alive with bird songs as the neotropical migrants pass through. These tuneful birds travel amazing distances each spring and fall. Late spring heralds the arrival of one of our most curious-looking but welcome summer visitors, wood storks. Wood stork numbers have dropped because of habitat loss. They are now on the federal endangered species list. Wood storks have not nested in Alabama in years, but Eufaula Refuge is working to change that by trying to create optimum habitat. This story is still being written. We hope the final chapter includes nests filled with noisy chicks. Even in the heat of late summer, the refuge hosts migrating birds, such as blue-winged teal, and offers opportunities to see our resident birds and summer visitors feeding in the shallow waters. One prominent species shows how well cooperative efforts can work. It is the bald eagle. There are several nests in the area, and eagles can be seen fishing over the lake through the year. Although Eufaula National Wildlife Refuge is known best for its birds, it's also home to a wide variety of reptiles, amphibians, mammals, and fish. On some days, you might think the refuge is alligator central. Numerous alligators live and nest on the refuge. The refuge is also home to a number of snakes, including some poisonous varieties. Mammals are harder to spot because many are active at night and they tend to be secretive. 49 species live on the refuge, including raccoons, armadillos, otters, beaver, and of course, deer. Eufaula National Wildlife Refuge has many stories to tell. Some may be just for you. You can begin to create unforgettable memories that will last a lifetime by personally experiencing the exciting wildlife world. Explore our beautiful southern landscape. Walk the nature trail. Take the wildlife drive. Watch birds, fish, or hunt. Each day is a different day in the outdoors. We hope you will make many visits to Eufaula National Wildlife Refuge, where wildlife comes naturally.
We have so many unique places all across the United States. Keep America's wildlife refuges in mind if you're planning a trip across the country.
It's time for a break. To help you get in the basketball spirit for March Madness, here's our newly created bumper on basketball greats.
They were created by new NHCS TV intern and our news anchor today, Shania McDuffie.
Days, months,
Hey, I'm Jim from across the street.
years,
I'd like to give you this.
a lifetime can rush by without realizing what we're missing. We lose some of the best moments, some that may never repeat,
Come on.
or detach from people around us. Our loved ones grow used to this pattern. But it doesn't have to be that way. We have a choice to take action. It's never too late to live a full life again. Hear how many of us Vietnam veterans have managed our mental health and reconnected with our families. Visit maketheconnection.net to find out more.
Good morning, and welcome back to the morning show. I'm Thomas Jones.
And I'm Bradley Meadows.
We have some great segments ahead, but first, we have our Did You Know?
Did you know sunflowers can be used to help pull radioactive waste from the ground?
Sunflowers have an incredible ability to extract radioactive contaminants and other toxins like lead and arsenic from the ground and store them in their leaves and stems.
Because of this, sunflowers have been used to clean up some of the world's biggest environmental disasters, and they are currently being planted in both Fukushima, Japan, and Chernobyl to help rehabilitate those areas.
This has caused sunflowers to become an international symbol for nuclear disarmament.
However, sunflowers are not only good at cleaning up nuclear waste, they are also extremely efficient at attracting wildlife to spread their seeds. This, combined with their hardiness and status as a fast-growing plant, is why, in some contexts, these beautiful flowers are considered weeds.
However, when a sunflower eventually stops producing seeds, the head can be cut off and used as a natural scrubbing tool.
In addition to this, sunflowers have also been used for medicine, dye, food, and oil for centuries.
Now that you know a little about sunflowers, you'll have some fascinating facts to share with the next person you see eating sunflower seeds.
Changing gears now, we have our next morning show segment.
Science Nation is brought to us by the National Science Foundation. In it, they examine the breakthroughs and the possibilities of new discoveries about our planet, our universe, and ourselves.
Today, we see how scientists are developing a video game to help teach hearing-impaired children sign language.
Gloves, camera, action. Thomas Nelson is playing Copycat, a unique and fun way to learn sign language.
Let's see what the tutor says to say. The cat is under the chair.
Thomas was 2 when doctors determined he was profoundly deaf.
My first thought when I found out he was deaf was I was never going to hear my son tell me that he loved me.
And added a dozen eggs.
Cheryl immediately started to learn sign language, but it's not easy. Studies show as many as 75% of hearing parents of deaf children never become fluent signers.
So that means only 25% of the kids are really getting good sign language at home. They're so behind in learning the language that they're not really learning the lessons in school.
With support from the National Science Foundation, computer scientist Thad Starner and his team at the Georgia Institute of Technology are developing interactive tools like Copycat to make sign language easier to learn for both the deaf and the hearing communities. For example, this cell phone app called Smart Sign helps hearing people who get stuck on a word.
Careless.
And it gives you the sign.
Spoiled.
Having it on your cell phone, wow, that's a huge help.
More?
Even though his son can hear,
Like, you want more?
Starner's colleague Jeff Wilson started teaching Wyatt simple signs months before he could talk.
Whenever we gave Wyatt a bottle of milk, we would do this sign, which is American Sign Language sign for milk. Eventually, he would start doing it without any prompting.
So instead of crying for his bottle, he signs.
Good job.
Copycat is primarily being developed for classrooms. Thomas wears gloves with motion sensors. A camera tracks his movements. When he signs correctly, he earns points and moves to the next challenge.
Children have to help Iris the cat find where these evil monsters have stolen, their gems or the pumpkins or whatever.
Starner's team is also putting captions on cartoons so the deaf community can finally get in on the nuances and the jokes. For Science Nation, I'm Miles O'Brien.
A great segment from Science Nation. That looked like a fun way to learn sign language.
It did. And now for our next segment, we have Gardening in Nature brought to us by the Cape Fear Garden Club. Each week, they take a look at a plant and wildlife in our area, provide us with gardening tips, and give us new ways of observing the nature around us. In today's edition, our host, Barbara Downing, is joined by a special guest, and they tell us all about the trees in our area.
Good morning. Do you remember the Lorax who said, "I speak for the trees"? Well, I want to introduce you to someone who speaks for the trees in Wilmington. Please welcome Sherry O'Daniel, the new chair of the Wilmington Tree Commission. Sherry, why are trees so important to our community?
Well, trees are important for many reasons. Trees provide shade, which cools the sidewalks in the buildings, reducing this urban heat effect that we can get, thus saving energy. Trees also provide a habitat for wildlife and songbirds, and trees also reduce the stormwater runoff by filtering the raindrops through filtration through the roots and also through the trees.
What is an urban tree canopy and who is in charge of it?
The urban tree canopy is basically the tree in general, basically the leaves, the whole infrastructure. And what we try to do with the canopy is the broader a tree is, the more shade it provides, the more filtration of water it will create. So that's one thing we're trying to do is instead of putting up small trees in parking lots, if we concentrate on a tree's canopy, which is the width that it expands out, then we're going to be more beneficial in the urban heat and also in managing the stormwater runoff.
Okay. Well, and who's in charge of that here in Wilmington?
Well, basically the Wilmington Tree Commission was placed to manage the trees, but the Parks and Recreation and Aaron Reese, who is our city arborist, he's the one that's in charge of determining the health of a tree and where trees should go or not go.
Okay. And I think I read that they are going to have a new system where they're going to make like a map, an aerial map of our whole canopy here in this area, and some students from UNCW will be helping with that.
That's right, yeah, and it's a system where you could actually, they're going to start marking down the heritage trees, so you'll be able to go within the city and find out where the heritage trees that have been designated as such are located.
And what exactly is a heritage tree?
A heritage tree is something that's beneficial to the community in terms of either it's a significant marking for some historic event. It could be a heritage tree because of its size. It all has to go against certain statistical information based on what the state heritage tree is in comparison to them. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, is there a particularly famous heritage tree here in Wilmington?
There's many heritage trees, and you can go on the Wilmington Tree Commission website, and it'll have a whole list of all the heritage trees that we have. And of course, everybody knows the famous Airlie Garden tree there.
I think I read somewhere on the arborist website said that it's like has been standing since the 1500s.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty impressive.
That is.
So, is there a designated day each year to celebrate trees?
Mm-hmm. Well, here in North Carolina, we consider Arbor Day the first Friday after March 15th. And that's what our Arbor Day is, and that's because of our planting season. We plant a little bit earlier than what the designated Arbor Day is nationally, which is April 22nd, which is because of the founder of Arbor Day. It was his birthday.
That's his birthday,
yeah.
Right.
But that was based in Nebraska, which their planting season's a little bit later than ours.
Right. Does Cape Fear Garden Club celebrate Arbor Day?
Yes, they do. They do, and they do it on the national.
Well, thanks, Sherry, for all that wonderful information about trees. That wraps up this edition of Gardening in Nature. Back to you.
Thank you, Ms. Downing. That was a lot of great information.
We have so many amazing trees here in Wilmington. I'm glad they shared some information about them.
Yes, and let's hope with all the construction going on in our area that there are still trees here in 20 years.
We can only hope. But for now, everyone get your thinking caps ready, because when we come back from break, it's game time.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
I like to eat apples and bananas. I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
Welcome to Game Time. I'm your host, Shania McDuffie. Here at Game Time, we pit two contestants head-to-head in a themed educational contest. Fear not, though, because you're at home, you get to test your knowledge alongside our contestants. Let's meet our contestants and learn a little about our theme. Welcome to the Game Time, Bradley and Thomas.
Thanks, Shania.
Today, our special segment is all about the infamous poet known as Shakespeare.
We have an abridged version of a show we air here on NHCS TV titled Why Shakespeare.
In it, we learn a little bit more about the writer who helped shape our time. We also hear from popular actors of the importance of Shakespeare in their lives.
Here's a look at Why Shakespeare.
All the world's a stage, but all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts.
When I open the gift of Shakespeare, I find life. I find life in all its complexity and contradiction, in all of its beauty and dismal banality.
What would be different in my life without Shakespeare? I was really shy. I was so shy. And I guess it's made me more confident about myself.
I have witnessed firsthand, over and over again, the power of theater and the performing arts to shape lives, not just that, but to actually turn them around.
My favorite play is the one that I'm working on at any given moment. Every time I work on a Shakespeare play, I find myself anew.
The world would be different without live theater in the sense that actors wouldn't have anywhere to act. And audience wouldn't have somewhere to cry, somewhere to laugh, somewhere to smile, somewhere to say, I felt that before.
When I work on a Shakespeare play, it connects me. It connects me to my community.
I think once I got involved in the theatre, something, just a light went on in my head. And when I've returned to school and talked about this in past and whatever, there was always, it's an exponential growth rate for me personally. I don't know, it may not be for everybody, but I improved at everything once my academically grades went through the roof, sports-wise, every facet of my life was improved by this thing that I then had.
Shakespeare was pivotal in my life in that as a kid, I was told, you'll never be a writer. I was told by teachers this, you'll never be a writer. And you tend to sometimes believe what teachers tell you, which could be a mistake. And I remember going to theater and reading Shakespeare and thinking to myself, this is really something that's interesting, that's engaging, and I think I'd like to try this.
I think the amazing thing about Shakespeare is that his language was so fertile.
He makes you appreciate language in a way that you never appreciated it before.
Shakespeare is the one who makes the language. That's what our language comes from too, the American language.
Well, Shakespeare to me is a little weird. I mean, here's a guy who lived in the 1600s, 400 years ago, and he's writing English that we can barely understand. It's a little weird.
When I would read Shakespeare in school, I would be like, these people are weird. I wouldn't understand really what they were talking about.
Some people won't admit it. They say, oh, it's Shakespeare.
But now that I really understand it, I guess I think about the women that are there and the men. And
Shakespeare, his words.
Shakespeare wrote in iambic pentameter. People get all, freaked out about iambic pentameter. Oh, I don't really understand it. It's so confusing. What's iambic pentameter? Dee-dum, 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 dee-dum. Shakespeare's telling you or sharing or reflecting the heartbeat of his characters and asking your heart to sync up with theirs. That's all that iambic pentameter is.
Working with Shakespeare has changed my life in many, many ways. I think one of the most surprising ways is that it has given me a vehicle to learn as well as teach.
What we fail to realize about Shakespeare is that Shakespeare was not merely the greatest playwright and poet of his day in England. He was also the most important figure in entertainment. He was a George Lucas or Steven Spielberg.
He has an ability to go deep into the human experience and entertain you while he's doing it.
Well, Shakespeare's is important because it's something that binds our heritage as an American. It's something that I think you can go up to anybody and say, have you read Shakespeare or have you heard of this guy?
Can I ask you a question? You may. What's Shakespeare?
What is Shakespeare? Poetry.
You are right, sir.
I feel that the artist Shakespeare, whoever he was so in tune with the dimensionality of what it is to be male and female. Isn't that amazing?
I think the value of theater, true theater, is that through performances, children can experience the multiplicity of life. They can live the life of a king. They could live the life of a queen. They can become a great hero. They can get out of their own life.
It uses a different part of your brain, and it allows you to get out of whether it's a puny little life or a life that's poor or a life that's too rich and you haven't experienced what it's like to go to the other side. It's about liberation.
I would have to say to anybody, even if anybody mentions the word Shakespeare, just to go for it. It might sound dorky at first, and you're like, no, but just do it. Don't listen to what others will say, because it will only hold you back from doing things that you really want to do.
I thank you, Bill Shakespeare, wherever you are.
That was a great segment. Don't forget, you can see the entire show, Why Shakespeare, right here on our channel.
And if you're interested in seeing Shakespeare performed, then keep your weekends in May and June open for Cape Fear Shakespeare on the Green. They are free public performances of Shakespeare's plays.
Now, we have a fascinating Shakespeare game, which will test our knowledge of characters in his play.
We now send it back over to Shania, who will explain the rules of our game and get things going.
To be or not to be, which play stars me? This is the name of our game, and it says it all. I will give you the name of a character from one of 7 Shakespeare's plays. You will have a list in front of you. There are 12 Knights, Much Ado About Nothing, Hamlet, The Tempest, Romeo and Juliet, Macbeth, and Comedy of Errors. All you have to do is tell me which of those plays the character is from. If you know it, be the first to buzz and tell me the answer for 2 points. If no one buzzes, I will give you a hint, but it will only be worth 1 point. In addition, if you get it wrong, your competitor can steal for 1 point. Okay, contestants, are you ready?
Yep.
Here we go. Okay. Oh, shoot. Okay, first one is Kuro. Kuro.
Can you spell it?
C-U-R-I-O.
Ooh. I'm going to say The Tempest.
That is incorrect.
Darn.
Can I get a hint?
No.
Oh, wait, I already have 1 point. Okay.
You can get a hint for it.
I can get a hint?
No, it's...
Yes, you can.
Okay.
You can get a hint.
You want a hint?
I want a hint.
Gentleman attending on the Duke.
Much Ado About Nothing.
No.
Great.
Correct answer is 12th Night. Second one is Balthasar.
Spell it.
B-A-L-T-H-A-S-A-R. Bradley?
Macbeth.
No.
Okay. The 12th Night?
No.
We just did that one.
It's Much Ado About Nothing.
I don't
Third
remember.
one is Claudius.
Oh, Hamlet.
That is correct. The fourth one is Alonzo.
Comedy of Errors.
No.
The Tempest.
That is correct. Fifth one, Montauk.
Macbeth.
No.
Comedy of Errors.
No. It's Romeo and Juliet. You guys suck.
Yeah, well, you try doing it.
Sixth one, Seward.
Comedy of Errors.
No.
You just said that. Much Ado About Nothing.
No, it's Macbeth.
Wow.
It's so terrible.
That's crazy.
Luciana.
The Tempest.
No.
All right, can I get a hint?
It is the sister to Adrian.
Much Ado About Nothing.
It's correct. This Comedy of Errors. Eighth one is
So why'd you
Beatrice.
say it was correct?
I said incorrect.
Oh.
The eighth one is Beatrice.
Beatrice.
If you need a hint, you can ask.
Can I get a hint?
Niece to Leonato?
I don't. Niece to him?
Yeah.
Is that what you said? I'm gonna say Much Ado About Nothing.
That is correct. 9 is Viola.
Viola. The Tempest.
No.
Dang.
You want...
Hamlet.
No, correct. It's 12th Night. 10th one, Prospero.
Oh no. I'm gonna say Hamlet.
That's incorrect.
Can I get a hint?
Oh, it's probably.
He is the rightful Duke of Milan.
Comedy of Errors.
No, the correct answer is The
What?
Tempest. Did y'all hear it? The Tempest.
Yeah, I heard it.
The 11th one is Gertrude.
Gertrude. Macbeth.
Incorrect.
Much Ado About Nothing.
Incorrect. The correct answer is Hamlet. This is so
Said that
sad.
so confidently too.
12 is Banquo.
What?
Banquo.
Banquo.
Yes. Do you need a hint, sir?
Yeah.
General of the King's Army.
Dinner with the King.
General of the
General.
King's Army.
The Tempest.
Incorrect.
Really? That's crazy.
Romeo and Juliet.
No. The correct answer is Macbeth. 13.
Well, I'm still beating you, so.
Romeo of Syracuse.
Romeo and Juliet.
No, I said drum. Okay, next.
I know, that was my guess anyway.
Thomas.
Oh, okay, wait. Who is it? Syracuse?
Romeo of Syracuse.
Romeo of Syracuse. Well, it's not Romeo and Juliet. That's too obvious.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. Is it Much Ado About Nothing?
No, it's Comedy of Errors. 15. If
Dang.
you don't get this right, I'm gonna scream. Ophelia.
Oh, yikes.
Ooh, 12th Night.
No.
Can I get a hint?
Daughter of Polonius.
Okay, that does not help me. Macbeth.
No, it's have y'all not seen Hamlet before?
No.
No.
It's Hamlet. 16, Sir Toby Bletch.
Wait, was it you? Or
Yeah, it
me?
was you. I was just resetting it from last time.
The Tempest.
No.
12th Night.
You are correct.
go, Brad.
17,
Let's go.
Lady Capulet.
Macbeth.
No.
I'm gonna
The
say
Tempest.
No, it's Romeo and Juliet.
I'm gonna say Macbeth for the rest of my answers.
I think I'm just gonna say
18,
Romeo and
Don
Juliet.
Pedro.
Comedy of Errors. Oh wait, no.
No, sir.
I know which one it is.
Wait, which one is it?
I'm not telling you.
Don Pedro.
Can I get a hint?
He is the Prince of Aragon. Look at that score. Jesus.
Much Ado About Nothing.
That is correct.
Ooh, I got one.
19 is Sebastian.
That's Hamlet, right?
No.
Let me get a hint.
He is the brother to Viola.
Oh no, I
Oh,
don't remember
no.
which one she was in. The
I think
12th Night?
That is correct.
Way to
And
go,
the
Philly.
last one is Miranda.
The Tempest.
That is correct.
I got that one. I saw one play.
Okay, that is all the questions we have, and our game winner and Shakespearean star is Bradley.
Let's go.
Congratulations.
Good game, Thomas.
Good game.
Well, that does it for this edition of The Morning Show.
Please follow us on Twitter for all the latest and most up-to-date announcements at NHCS TV.
And you can watch our shows on demand on YouTube. Just search for user NHC Schools.
For the best TV of all, keep each and every day, keep it tuned right here for New Hanover County Schools TV on the Learning Network of the Cape Fear.
Have a great day.
And a wonderful week.